Hello. Welcome to OJ Studios. Please enjoy Unusual Punishment by Elizabeth Windsor. Well, my mom is mad. I think that's an understatement though, she's always mad at me for something. But today it seems worse though. I know, I shouldn't have snuck out. But hey Ashley, this girl I like was going to be there and I mean what would you do? Mom caught me coming through my bedroom window at 3 in the morning. To be honest, I was drunk. Not wasted, but still way over tipsy. I had been at a party with friends of mine. To be honest, I didn't think it was going to get as bad as it did. But one thing led to another, and I found myself dancing with Ashley while downing shot after shot of some type of alcohol. Of course, to ruin our fun, the cops showed up and somehow Ashley and I were able to get up and out of the party unseen. Both Ashley and I were both 17, so we really didn't want to get caught. We waited around for the cops to leave, and we took off in my car. Oh man, that was the worst decision ever. Somehow, I got Ashley back to her house without wrecking my car. I looked at her and somehow, she still looked as beautiful and sober as she was drunk. She reached over to kiss me, and I did the same. I guess tonight wasn't that bad. Or it would have if her father hadn't pounded on my hood and ripped the passenger door open right before Ashley was going to kiss me. He grabbed Ashley and hauled her into the house. After a 10-minute drive, I got back to my house and thanked God that the windows were still dark. I crept over to my bedroom's window and slowly opened it. I have done this 1,000 times before and I was already a master at getting in and out without my mom even knowing. Unfortunately, this time I couldn't sneak in as easily. I guess mom had a trap ready for me or something. When I tried to sneak back into the house, mom caught me. After a long lecture, she sent me off to bed promising that tomorrow I would face some consequences.
I woke up to my alarm clock going off. I pinched my eyes closed as I fought to stay asleep. I could have sworn that I turned off my alarm clock last night before I went to sleep. The song that was playing wasn't my normal wake-up playlist that I had normally had for my alarm clock, but instead was a weird cover song sung by kids. I rolled over in bed and shut it off, noting to myself that I needed to change my alarm clock settings before I go to bed tonight. Drunk me must have really messed up the settings. The fact that I was still sleeping in a bed and that I could check my phone with actual hands told me that I was still human. Maybe mom forgot about enforcing a punishment. Maybe she has forgotten the whole thing. I put the phone down and reluctantly I sat up in bed and blinked a few times as my vision corrected itself. Surprisingly, I didn't have a hangover. In fact, I felt better than I normally do. Almost like I just had an energy shot. I picked up my phone again, intending to text a friend of mine when I noticed my phone was different. It had a pink cell phone case on it and my lock screen was also pink. I rolled my eyes and unlocked it only to find the screen was also a light pink. I dropped the phone on the bed, figuring this was Brooke just playing with me, but that thought was taken out of my mind when I noticed what my phone was now lying on. Instead of my old black comforter lying on my bed there in the light of the faint morning sun was a pink one with purple hearts outlined all over it. I looked behind me and saw that my 2 pillows were also changed with the same pattern. My sheets underneath it had an inverted color scheme. Pink hearts with a purple background. But before my brain could fully process it, I realized that there was a weird movement around my head. Something different moved around it. I grabbed a hold of it to find its long strands of auburn hair. I was too stunned to even speak, so I got out of bed and walked the few steps to the bathroom when I noticed that everything was a lot taller than I was used to. My feet didn't even reach the ground when I sat on the edge of the bed. But there was something else. I fell asleep in just my boxers last night, like I do every night. Right now, however, when I looked down at myself, I could see that I wasn't wearing my boxers. But instead, I was wearing what looked to be a purple nightgown that girls wear. I ran out of my room and into the bathroom across the hall and flipped on the light. I looked over the sink to the mirror where I saw my worst nightmare. In front of me was a little girl who couldn't be any older than 9 years old, looking back at me with brown eyes and light brown hair. The girl was wearing a purple nightgown with big puffy transparent cap sleeves made from some type of lace. Small ruffles were along the edge before a piece of elastic went around the girl's arm to make the lacy part puff out. On the bottom, 3 layers of ruffles went around the hem of the nightgown. I pulled up the nightgown and pulled forward the pair of purple panties that was around my waist. To be honest, it was weird what I was looking at now. I never thought I would see myself wearing panties, let alone seeing them so flat. Freaked out, I slid the waistband and of the panties forward and I saw that my penis was no longer there. I was too scared to say anything, so I just stayed quiet as I thought about what was going on. This had to be the worst punishment in the world. I was now a girl. Oh, this was worse than Brooke's punishment of being stuck as a dog for a week. To her it was just a long playtime. After she got done screaming about the horrors of no longer being a human, she got used to it. I will not. So do I get to see Mason's punishment now, Mom? I heard Brooke yell out. No. I whispered. I quickly covered my mouth in shock as I realized that my voice was so small and so weak now. The nightgown dropped and fell to my knees. I could feel it sway around me, and I went to the door to try to barricade it. I flinched when I heard Brooke bang on the door. My heart started to race several miles per hour as I thought about what to do. Come on out of there! Brooke yelled through the door. I want to see what Mom did to you. Go away! I yelled. The littleness of my voice surprised me and seemed to surprise Brooke too. Mason, what's with your voice? She asked. I kept quiet as I begged any god that could hear me to just let this horrible nightmare just be that, a horrible nightmare that I can just wake up from. Despite my best efforts, the reality that I was just a 9-year-old girl sank in and Brooke started to push the door, even with all my might, opening it enough that she could get her upper body inside the door frame. She saw me instantly and grinned widely. I knew exactly why too, since she had come back from being a dog. She waited to see how Mom was going to punish me the next time I did something, and the look on her face told me that she wasn't disappointed. Well, aren't you the cutest little girl ever? Brooke said, bending down to my level. Mom really did a shown you, didn't she? I crossed my arms and waited for her to leave the bathroom so I could go back to my room in peace, but instead she just stayed there kneeling as she looked me over. You are all girl, aren't you? She asked. I nodded my head a little. Oh, I can't wait to see what all Mom changed for you. Then her eyes widened. We can dress you up in a dress. No dresses. I said in almost a pout. You'll be in a dress today. Mom said as she walked in. I love what you did to her. Brooke said, I always wanted a little sister. Well, you got one for the next 2 weeks. That's not fair. I squealed out when Brooke was turned into a dog. She was only that way for a week. Yeah, but she also didn't commit a felony. Mom retorted. So, what's your name? Brooke asked as she looked at me like I was some weird type of science project. I looked at Mom for the answer, but Mom didn't say anything. Instead, she came around me and put her hand on my forehead and I felt a calming wave pass me. The same feeling happened every time Mom put a mind spell on one of us. This is to reprogram your boy knowledge and replace it with girl knowledge. You will still know everything you know now, but everything like mannerisms and traits are now changed to align with being a girl. She took her hand off me and the spell wore off on me. So, what is your name, little girl? Mom asked, folding her arms. The word instantly came to me. It was like the name Mason was pushed aside and a new, more girly name was inserted in its place. My name is Allison. I said calmly. Mom looked at me approvingly as Brooke gushed over the name. But all I wanted to do was leave the bathroom and go back to my room where I could hide for the next 2 weeks. Finally, Mom stopped Brooke from picking on me. I think it's time for Allison over here to take a bath before we get her ready for the day. Mom said, taking her hand to Brooke's forehead. You're right, I got to go. Brooke said in a monotone before leaving the bathroom. I looked at Mom, who just shrugged. I told her to take all the silverware in the house and give them a good scrubbing. Should take her a few hours. I smiled at the thought of her going crazy over forks, but then I feel silent as the gravity of my situation set in. Mom, how am I supposed to go to school like this? Won't people think it's weird that Friday I was a teen boy and now I'm a much younger girl? Mom moved over to the bathtub and started to run it. She didn't say anything. Instead, she put a generous amount of kids' bubble bath into the bathwater, causing bubbles to come up from the stream of water. School is excluded from your punishment as always. Mom said, when you're at school you will return to be a teen boy and when you come home you're back to being a girl. I nodded my head, at least I was able to take a break for 8 hours of the day. Okay, the bathwater is ready for. Mom announced. I wanted to say no, but then the thought in my head turned warm and somehow, I changed my mind about going into that bath. It looked like fun. I mean, it has a ton of bubbles. I pulled the nightgown over my head and put it in the laundry basket and then took the panties off and stood there naked in front of my mom, but I didn't care. I just wanted to get into the bath so I could play with the bubbles. I'll come back for you in an hour. Mom said as she left the bathroom. Okay, Mommy. I said, making a bubble beard on myself. I hadn't noticed that I had called my mother Mommy. Allison? I heard Mom say through the door as she knocked. I stopped playing in the now non-bubble water. I don't know what it is, but now I have the wild imagination of a 9-year-old too. In my mind the water was a vast ocean and the Just for Kids strawberry shampoo that replaced my men's 3-in-1 shampoo was a ship sailing through dangerous waters when my mom's Dove shampoo bottle arose from the depths and attacked the kids' shampoo and destroyed it. Yes. I asked, hoping that it hadn't been an hour since I started my bath. Time to get out, honey, we need to get you dressed and ready for the day. I slumped on my shoulders and without a word I let out the water of the bathtub and I watched as both shampoo bottles slowly floated closer and closer to the floor of the tub. On my towel hook sat a pink towel instead of my normal blue one. I rolled my eyes as I took the towel down and started to dry my body. After I was dry enough, I absent-mindedly wrapped myself up with a towel neatly over my chest. Something that I have never done before. I opened the door to the bathroom to find Mom waiting for me on the other side. She looked at me approvingly and then took my hand and guided me back to my room. Today I'm going to help you get dressed. Then tomorrow I expect you to get dressed properly on your own. Mom said. I looked up at her and wondered why she was telling me this. And then I remembered her telling me and Brooke that I was going to be wearing a dress today. Please don't make me wear a dress. I begged, but Mom stayed quiet. Instead, she opened the door to my room, and I followed her in. You're going to wear a dress today whether you like it or not. Mom said, opening my closet, revealing rows of girl dresses and tops all in my new size. Pastel colors dominated the color scheme and tops of all types hung on one side of the closet and on the other side dresses of all shapes and kinds were here hanging up. Seeing the closet, I felt almost the same as I did when I saw the bathtub. I felt a warm sensation telling me that the dresses were welcoming and fun. For a split second I was drawn to put one on and look pretty. But then I overcame the feeling, and I knew I didn't want to wear one of the dresses. If you're a good girl you can wear pants next weekend, but for this week you are going to wear nothing but dresses and skirts, Mom? I whined, but Mom only started to look through the dresses on the rack. I'll let you pick your first dress. Mom stepped back from the closet and lightly led me to the closet. I looked at them for a second, not wanting to wear any of them. I don't want to wear any of them, Mommy, please don't make me. I begged, but Mom just shook her head. Sorry, Allison, but it's part of your punishment. Mom grabbed a blue dress that seemed simple and not as fancy as the other dresses I have seen girls wear. What about this one? Mom asked. It's blue, it's kind of boyish. Mommy, it's a dress. They're not boyish. Mom pushed me over to the dresses and made me flip through them. There were dresses from casual dresses that you would see a girl wear occasionally, to dresses that the most girly girls would only wear during special events. None of them was anything I would wear. I stepped back away from the closet and shook my head. I didn't want to wear any of these stupid dresses. Okay then, Mom sighed. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, make Allison wear this one. She grabbed a dress out of random and handed it to me. I took it and looked at it, almost too scared to. Ooh. It was white with a pink floral pattern all over the dress. The sleeves were small cap sleeves, and the material of the dress was soft. I'm sure any girl would love this dress, but for me I hated this. The blue dress seemed tame compared to this dress. Really, Mommy? I asked, but Mom gave me a stern look and I backed off. Maybe tomorrow you will be more studious about picking out a dress. I sighed and put the dress on my bed. Mom went to my dresser and opened my top drawer. I half expected to see my socks and boxers laying in the drawer, but instead there were brightly colored panties with girlish patterns on them. Next to them, spaghetti strap tank tops of all colors were neatly folded, and next to them were colorful socks with fancy designs on them. Mom picked a pair of panties from the drawer and put them on the bed. She then went back into my closet and bent down to my shoe shelf. Back when I was a boy, there were 3 pairs of shoes on it. My everyday shoes, my dress shoes that I hadn't worn in months, and a pair of sandals. But now the 3-shelf shoe shelf was packed with all types of girls' shoes, from white and pink tennis shoes to the white Mary Janes. There they were, lined up and waiting for me to wear them. Mom looked over at the shoes and then back to the dress as she tried to decide which shoes would look best. She picked up 2 pairs of shoes. One was a white pair of sandals with pink flowers on the strap. The other pair were plain white with a brown sole on the bottom. "Which pair, Allison?" Mom asked, surprising me. I wanted to say neither and beg her just to let me wear the black and white tennis shoes that I saw on the shelf, but to my surprise I pointed to the sandals with the pink flowers on them. "That's what I was going to pick too," Mom said as she put the other sandals back where they were. I rolled my eyes when she wasn't watching. This was the worst punishment ever. Mom was turning me into her little girly doll that she could dress up as fancy as she wanted, something that she couldn't do to Brooke because she has always been a tomboy. "Here is your clothes, Allison. Put them on and come downstairs. We must get a move on if we are going to do everything we need to do today." "What are we doing today, Mommy?" I asked. My heart started to pound. I had hoped that I would just be here. "That's for me to know and for you to find out later," Mom said as she left my room, shutting my door. I sighed and took off the towel and laid it on the bed. I looked at the clothes completely naked and wondering how I got into this mess. I picked up the panties and with a sigh I put them on one leg at a time and then up to around my waist. I looked down and sighed. There was no bump where I was used to my penis being. I was just smooth down there. The whole thought that I was going to have to live a whole 2 weeks without being able to pee standing up made me know that this was going to be a long 2 weeks. I slid on the dress over my head and put my arms through the sleeves. I could feel the skirt of the dress fall around my legs. I know my boy mind should be noticing how the feeling of the skirt brushing up on me is weird, or even how the openness of the dress feels so different, but instead my brain felt that this was normal. The new girly side of me was used to and loved wearing dresses. I sat on my bed, not noticing how I automatically smoothed out the dress before sitting so it didn't reveal my panties. I grabbed the sandals and put them on. At least these were halfway normal to what I was used to. Once I was done, I walked to a small mirror and looked at myself in it. The girl that was reflected to me looked even more girly than when I saw her when I had just woken up. I walked downstairs to find Mom cooking breakfast while Brooke stood in front of the sink still washing every utensil in the kitchen. I sat down at my spot on the table, still not noticing that I had slid my hand around my butt, keeping the dress properly around me. Somehow sitting in a dress seemed to be natural for me. Mom put a plate in front of me and I began to eat it while I watched Brooke slowly wash a pile of forks. I hoped that Mom would keep her under the curse for a little while longer. I don't think I could stand for her to see me like this yet again.